Yeah.
Cool. Well, you got that down. Let's just remind ourselves what you're doing, what the name of each of those chords are, what the name of each bar chord is, and we'll get that, and then we'll just try it in another key. And we'll try it with open chords. I think we need to reinforce our open chords too while we're doing this,
Right.
which would be good practice for the theory and concepts behind it anyway. So we're doing it at the 3rd fret. What chord is that? So 2 questions, I guess. What kind of bar chord shape are we doing? And then what's the actual chord?
So we're doing a C shape.
So when you move this all the way down to open, so look. I don't mind how long it takes. You can take it all the way down to open. Now just slide it until this becomes the top knot. Yep. And then just compare this to those and see which shape it is. What string actually? Yep. Good. So it's the E-shaped one. And the key meaning
E and A.
Yep.
I don't know why I keep thinking C.
Yeah.
E and A.
And another main point about that to notice is that it's E major and A major. So it's the E. It's the major shaped bar chord that originally looked like E. You know, another longer way to say it is like major shaped bar chord with the root note on the E string. Okay, just the same exact thing. You know, 'cause no matter where you do it, it's major shaped. It just happened to be tuned in E. You know, if we tuned it down, you know, a whole step, then it would be like call it a D shape. You know what I mean? But it's just it's a major shaped bar chord with the root note on the 6th string or the low E string. So whatever note you're doing on that low E string, the 6th string, the one that originally looked like E in this tuning, always going to be major. And that root note is going to be whatever note you're doing on that 6th string. So if you do this note, E, F, G, A, it's an A major. The shape of it is major, E major. Okay.
It's just weird how you can hold down the same strings. But that concept is just hard to...
Well,
you get all these different shapes to do all these different chords, but yet the bar chord is like the same.
okay, I mean,
It's strange. You know?
when we get this down, if we got a little time, we could start talking about a little bit more about what makes a chord a chord. And I think we've at least touched on it here and there. With I don't want to confuse you with more numbers, but the 1, 3, 5, or the remember intervals like major thirds, perfect fifths, and stuff like that. A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
It's the distance between the notes that determine the type of chord. Meaning the type, the category.
Because
major,
an
minor.
open chord, say a G chord or something, I mean, how many different open G chords can you do on the guitar?
Well, what defines
Not
a major chord is whatever root note you want to start with, the note that's 3 away from it, and the note that's 5 away from it. Or another way to sing it,
So
you know,
all
root
3.
3rd, 5th, or, you know, 1 major 3 perfect 5. There's different ways of saying the same thing, like 1, 3, 5. Not talking 1, 4. It's similar. I mean, we're talking about how far these notes are away from each other. That'll always be the case. So this is a chord formula: 1, 3, 5. Or in other words, every other note. Like on a piano, it's really easy to see. Boom, skip a key, skip a key, skip a key. Call this 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 5. That defines a major chord. So for G, we can use our fingers. G, A, B, C, D. G, B, D. Any combination of G, B, D is G major. Universally. Not even on guitars. Voices, you know, things without strings. So when you're learning and you're concentrating so much on learning these chords, you can't help but learn them as these various and varied finger shapes. You know, there's so many different arrangements. But what you're doing is just, that's one of many different instances or possibilities of combining those 3 notes. Because a G chord is G mixed with B mixed with D. And the formula...
So chord's still doing the same thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We could look at that a little closer in a sec, but like, I think it helps drive the point home if you kind of skip the guitar for a second and just think, okay, if you have 3 vocalists doing a 3-part harmony, one's singing a G, one's singing a B, that's the other one's singing a D, that's a G chord. Okay, they're making a G chord. Or if I played G on the piano, you played the open D string and Nick sang, you know, the other note, then that would be a G chord. So in the open position, you asked how many different ways are there to do G? A good amount. You could do those 3 strings open and call it a G chord. Don't have to hold anything. Easiest chord you can think of. Because this is a G, that's a B, that's a D. And that's just a smaller version of what you normally hold down. This is a G, that's a B, that's a D, that's a G, that's a B, that's a G. You do this way, the one that has 4 fingers, all we do is replace a B with a D. Still GBD. GBD, GBD, GBD. So there's 3 ways of doing it. Most of them are going to be variety, just taking notes away. I mean, just these 3 strings alone is a G chord, technically. We're going to G, B, D. And then this is just duplicating them. G, B, and then G. Or I can go hold down a D over there. So all G. Or going like, whether you play them at the same time or not, it doesn't matter. If you do it one at a time, you call it arpeggio, meaning play them one at a time. That counts as a G too. So chords are specific groups of notes that are a specific distance away. Rather, all chords are a specific group of notes. The category of chord, major, minor, diminished, seventh, augmented, this, all those different categories are just different spacings between the notes. And there's no difference between an A, a B flat, a C, a D, an E major, except for the note you're starting with. The spacing of all those notes is the same. So for each category, the spacing of the notes is the same. And that's why you can take, this is an open E major. The notes are spaced a specific way. And because the spacing of the notes is what defines a chord, keep that spacing the same. It's still that category of chord. It's still major. The only thing we're varying is what we're starting on. Started on E, open E string, 6 string. Spacing of the notes is the same. The category of chord is the same, still major, but we're starting on an F, so it's an F major. Does that make it?
Yeah, kind
clear
of.
It up a little bit?
So no matter, E7, sus9, whatever, they're all 3 apart. No.
Major is 3 apart.
Majors are 3 apart only.
So every other one has its own spacing formula.
But that'll
and the numbers are suggestive. Like
so minors are all the same then too? Or?
Yeah, minors are all the same as each other. They're all spaced the same way.
Right. And
then all the sevenths are the same as each other. Yep.
Okay.
So good to think of chords in 2 parts. The root note, and then the category of chord, which is the spacing of all the notes from that root note. The root note is the letter part of the note part, like A sharp, B flat, C.
So majors are 1, 3, 5. Are these, 1, 3, 7?
1, 3, 5, 7.
1, 3, 5, 7.
So it's additive. It's like it's 1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And then minor chords are 1 flat 3, 5. So they're almost the same as major. They're still, you could say they're still every other note, but the difference would be, like for example, let's do like a C chord. C is a C, E, G. C, skip the D. E, skip the F. G, C, E, G, C, E, G, C, E, G. C minor is C, E flat, G. Okay? So it's still C, E, G, but the third is flat.
Does that hold true all the time?
For minor chords, the third is always flat. It won't always be the case. Like sometimes, like an A major is an A, C sharp, E. So an A minor is just A, C, E. Different chords are by default major or minor, or meaning, I guess by default meaning all Nashville notes. So I mean, we're doing a lot of stuff pretty quick, but I think for our purposes and kind of getting why bar chords can be like that, I hope this is a...
So on the 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, some of them are obviously open, some of them are holding them all down. Some of them are holding 3 out of 4 or 2 out of 4.
Right, because we're just tuned a certain way, and that's where you can
9,
find
you're
your
not going to hold down 5 strings, you're going to have an open string in there somewhere.
Sometimes, yeah, I mean, on a 9th chord you could play without having open notes. It's harder.
Yeah.
But,
So you got to hold down 2.
Yeah, you got need a little bar there. Minor 9th is a little easier. And then because we're on a guitar, on piano it's really easy, but
Get your feet going.
Like there's 11th chords and 13th chords, and if you follow this logic, like well, how the hell could I ever play a 13th chord if we got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13? We only have 6 strings, so you can't even do a proper technical 13th chord. So you're allowed to skip different intervals or different notes. Like the 5th, you can skip all the time. Certain like the 3rd. When we said the difference between major and minor is the 3rd is flatted. The 3rd is an important note. It adds a lot of quality to the chord, whether it's going to be pretty happy or sad. But if you skip a 5th is just a really strong. It adds kind of consonants. I mean, they ring really nice together, but it doesn't add like a particular quality, like or nothing too distinct about it. It's just really nice and resonant together, but it's not going to make it sound happy or sad or jazzy or, like all the different qualities that these chords could have. It's just strengthens up. So of all the intervals to skip, a lot of times you skip the 5th to fit all those other intervals in there and stuff. But yeah, that's how chords work. They're just specific spacings in the notes. And that's how basically all music, I mean, we're talking about kind of harmony, like notes ringing together, but what we're talking about is intervals. I mean, the spacing of the notes determines everything. Like a song, like a familiar song like Smoke on the Water. No chords here, but the notes are spaced a certain way, right? In this case, I'm going E, G, A, etc. If I changed every single note, but kept the spacing of those notes the same, you'd still recognize the song. I can go like... Let me find a... Sounds like Smoke on the Water, right? You'd recognize that. Anybody would if they knew the song. Every note was different, or wrong almost, you know? So, but what was constant is the spacing of the notes. So how far notes are spaced from each other is all that matters. So it doesn't really matter what key you play in, The only reason it would matter to play in a certain key or another, reason to get a capo out is, so that it, usually to cater to the singer, whatever they naturally, because I mean your voice, you're stuck with what you got, what you're born with. You've got a certain range, and you could work on developing it a little bit. But you might naturally sing good in a certain range, or the notes that you hit really strongly resonate well with certain chords.
Yeah, Skunk City Band. He's just got a certain range, so he has the songs that fit his voice.
You can take any song and put it in that key and make it fit in that range. But that's why the key doesn't really matter. I mean, you still recognize the songs. They might be playing every note wrong, or it wouldn't match the CD because they're all up or down from where it was originally.
So that was like what?
So 0, 3, 5. So we gotta go. There we go. So this picture, this is 0. So we have 1, 2, 3, and that'd be 5. Boom, boom, boom. So skip, starting with this one and considering it like open. And then the 3rd fret would be that one. Yep. Got it. Yeah. It's kind of fun to do that.
Where you start.
Nice. Yep. Yeah, it's cool. You can do that with any song. So yeah, that's a pretty big concept because everybody thinks about chords the same way that you were thinking about them earlier. It's unavoidable. It's like you spend so much time concentrating on getting these finger shapes. It's like, okay, that's C. The way my fingers are.
Yeah, right.
You decide, it's like, well, why is that C, and what really defines it? Or throws a lot of people off. And it's like, okay, well, this is G, but this is another way of doing G.
Yeah,
you can add that finger too.
We've done that before too. Or what are we taking off? We've taken some off. I don't know before.
This one.
Is it that one? Yeah, I remember one of the songs or something.
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't work really much. Yeah. Bar can't be ahead of it. Yeah.
Making pretty good sense though.
Yeah.
Cool.